Hello, and welcome to the 25th episode of Course Place. I'm so glad you've chosen to join me for today's conversation. In today's episode, I want to talk about truths I can tell myself to give myself hope in trials. As always, if you like what you hear, please leave a review and/or comments, follow my podcast, and tell your friends. Also, please follow the podcast page I've made on Facebook. If you'd like to contact me via email instead of a Facebook message, you can email me at corachin@mailbox.org. If you are new here, welcome. I'm your host, Cora, and I'm so excited to have you on this journey with me. Today, I'm going to be sharing 25 truths I want to remember / that I can tell myself when I'm struggling, and that I hope you can tell yourself too when you are facing a trial. After I share each one, I will share a quick thought about that particular truth. Before I get to all the truths, I have once again decided to cut the segment where I share a verse and then my thoughts on it out of the episode. Not because I don't like that segment, it was just because I wasn't exactly sure what verse would fit this episode. Now, sit back, get comfortable, and let's dive into the episode. I am super excited to get to share these truths with you today, and I really hope they encourage you as well. If you would like to and are able, you could make your own list of truths, and you could even send it to me if you wanted. I would love to see the lists of truths you all use when you are trying to encourage yourselves. For now, though, here is my list. 1. You are loved, not just by your friends and family, but by the God of the universe who created you. 2. You do matter. I know that sometimes people can make us feel like we don't matter, but God loved us enough that He sacrificed His only Son for us. 3. You are not alone. God is right there next to you, even when you can't feel Him or see Him. 4. You are created for and with a purpose. Your life has a unique purpose that only you can fulfill. Nobody else can fulfill that purpose. It is up to you to fulfill it. 5. You are cared about. Sometimes we feel invisible to other people and it hurts, but you have a God who cares about you. 6. It's okay to have a bad day. Everyone has a hard day sometimes. It's totally normal. 7. It's okay not to be okay. You don't have to put a mask on to show that you are fine when you really aren't fine. God sees your pain and He wants to help you. 8. It's okay to cry sometimes. Crying is good for you and it can help. 9. You don't have to be strong all the time. It is totally okay to fall apart sometimes when you are struggling. Don't think you have to hold it all together all the time when something is wrong. Run to the arms of Jesus. 10. You are beautiful. The world is telling you lies that say you aren't pretty enough, good enough, smart enough, etc. Those lies are from Satan. Jesus tells you truth. 11. Crying does not make you weak. It can actually help you release whatever you're feeling. 12. Asking for help does not make you weak. It makes you wise to ask for help. Don't try to do everything on your own. 13. You are wanted. God wants you, and He wants to be close to you. 14. You are needed. You have a purpose on this earth that nobody else can fulfill except for you. 15. You don't have to pretend that everything is okay all the time. I know it won't be, so you don't have to pretend it is, even when it isn't. If you only pretend all the time, things could get really bad, and then you would need professional help. 16. Your track record for getting through hard days is 100% so far. You have made it through all of the hard days in your life so far. That's amazing. I know the road hasn't always been easy, but you have successfully made it to the place you are at in your life right now. 17. This hard season currently in your life won't last forever. It does eventually end. There will be a light at the end of the tunnel eventually. It may take a little time to get there, but don't give up. There is hope. 18. You are made in God's image. Don't believe Satan's lies. They are harmful and will only drag you down. Satan wants to harm you, but God wants to protect and love you. 19. The world does not define your worth. God does. He purchased you with His blood, And he made you, so he should be the only one who gets to define you. 20. You are of more worth than silver or gold. God's love for you is so much more than you can imagine. You are worth more to God than you will ever know. Even more than all of the stars in the sky, grains of sand, blades of grass, or drops of water in the ocean. 21. You are never out of God's love. No matter how far you have wandered or strayed, there is absolutely nothing you can do to change or take away God's love for you. He loves you, even despite your worst mistakes. 22. God is on your side. He is always with us. He is fighting for us. He has never and will never abandon you. I know it sometimes can feel like He has left us, but He is still there. 23. God's love can never and will never run out. His love is like an ocean that never ends or runs out. His love for us is wider, deeper, and higher than all of outer space and so much longer than time. 24. Even through our hardest moments and hardest days, God is still right here protecting us, guiding us, comforting us, helping us, providing for us, holding us, strengthening us, and fighting for us. 25. Even when things don't go the way we planned, God is still good. It's okay and normal to be angry and question God when plans change, but we can't dwell on that forever. A really godly and wise person who I really look up to once told me that basically, when we complain about our plans getting changed, we are pretty much just being very self-focused and telling God we know better than He does. As I was writing the thoughts to this truth, I thought of Psalm 16 verses 1 and 9. Those verses say, "The plans of the heart belong to man, but the answer of the tongue is from the Lord." Verse 1. And then, "The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps." Verse 9. So, I guess these verses mean that we can make our own plans, but it is ultimately God who is in control. We need to give God the pen for our lives because He's the author of our life stories, like I mentioned in a previous episode. If we don't allow God to have the pen for our lives, we could miss out on amazing things that God has in store for us and miss incredible blessings. If we miss the incredible blessings God has for us, we could potentially be passing up opportunities that only happen once in a lifetime, and we won't get a second chance to go back and try to take them. Once they are gone, they're gone forever. I think the same thing can be true in friendships or relationships. We are only on this earth for a little while, and we need to make sure we are living the best way we possibly can and doing our best in relationships with others so they don't end on a bad note. Communication is definitely very important in any relationship, especially if there's a problem. It is better to communicate about the problem before it turns into a messy situation and you're at risk of losing that friendship or relationship. I wanted to share a few last thoughts now that we have made it through all of the truths I listed. I honestly need to remind myself of every single one of these truths I mentioned in the episode, just as much as I'm trying to remind you of all of them. I tend to have a hard time remembering truths when I'm struggling, and that's something I need to work on. When we remember truths, that can be so helpful in changing our attitude towards our circumstances, even when things don't go the way we planned. Whether in a big way, like not getting married, not being able to have kids, not getting a promotion at work, not getting a dream job or into your dream school, unexpectedly losing your job, facing a chronic illness, dealing with loss, grief, loneliness, etc. Or maybe you face unexpected circumstances in a small way, like accidentally spilling your coffee on yourself, running late to something important, getting sick, failing a test in school, etc. It's something I definitely need to remember more often in my own life. Everything that I have shared so far in this episode, and will share in the rest of the episode, is stuff I struggle with too, so don't feel like you are alone in that. I think everyone struggles with all of this at some point in their lives to some degree. Sometimes even the little ways things in life don't proceed as planned can feel like really big things. When things change, how do you respond? How does it make you feel? I think it makes me feel angry at God, sad, disappointed, discouraged, defeated, etc. What do you think are some ways you can change the way you respond to trials? I think for me, I can pray, read my Bible, talk with others, journal about it, go for a walk, or just do something for myself that will lift my mood and fill my tank. What do you do when you are angry at God? I tend to not necessarily want to talk to him as much, and sometimes even listening to Christian music doesn't always help me. I think what I need to do in that situation is try to talk to God about it, even when I'm angry at him, read my Bible, share how I'm feeling with someone, go for a walk, listen to uplifting music, and just rely on God as much as I can. Everything I mentioned in this episode is most definitely easier said than done, so don't get discouraged when things aren't going the way you want them to. They are also all things I still need to work on in my own life. We are all on this journey of life together, and I think we can really help each other in times when it gets hard. Please reach out to me if you ever need someone to talk to or just to pray with. I would love to help in any way I possibly can. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please leave a comment and a review of my podcast if you haven't already, and please follow my podcast page on Facebook so you never miss an update. If you have any verses you'd like me to read on a future episode, or if you have any topics you'd like me to talk about, you can email me at corachin@mailbox.org, send me a message on my podcast page on Facebook, or a voice message through the link in the show notes, and I will get back to you when I can. Hope you tune in next week for the 26th episode.